All right, good morning. I wanted to walk through this announcement that I saw yesterday. It's called the Freedom Through Affordability Initiative from the PA House Republicans. But instead of just reciting it or reacting to it, I want to do something a little different. First, I'm going to show you exactly what is being proposed in their own words so we can kind of pick it apart and understand what's in it. And then we're going to break down the numbers together and see what this actually means for a typical household. So, looking into this, and I'll post the links to these with the video here. So, the first part it includes a package of 6-month tax cuts and sales tax holidays. I think this is great. That should hopefully bring some relief and to the high costs currently, and we'll see how much that actually impacts the normal household. And yeah, I think it's a good thing. I'm a little concerned about this next part. It's a multi-billion-dollar relief effort. That's a lot of money that is going to be not coming into the state for budgeting. But we'll take a look at that and break that down after we go through everything else. Our goal is simple: make Pennsylvania a place where families can afford to live, work, and build their future. When people can keep more of what they earn and the cost of everyday life is within reach, they have the freedom to make their own choices about their future. That's what this effort is about: achieving freedom through affordability for people across the Commonwealth. I think that's a great goal. I think this proposal as it stands falls pretty short of that, especially that cost of everyday life is within reach piece of it. But we'll break down the numbers and take a look at that. So now we get into some of the actual policies that are being discussed. And again, there's no bills for any of these yet. This is a package that's been proposed. So I only have the information of what's in this press release. But as the bills get put out there and submitted, I will do a breakdown of them to kind of look into them a little bit deeper. So right now we have the reduce the state personal income tax rate from 3.07% to 2.99% for 6 months. I think that's great. That looks flashier than it actually is, but we'll see that when we get to the numbers breakdown. We also have suspend the gross receipts tax on electricity and telecommunications for 6 months. So getting rid of the gross receipts tax on your electric bill and your phone bill for 6 months. Also great. Because energy costs factor into production, wholesale, and retail costs on everyday products, this relief will be felt across the Commonwealth's entire economy. I don't think this is going to have that big of an impact on retail costs, only because it's a 6-month time frame. Retailers typically have inventory that spans longer than that, 6 months, especially with all the tariffs and everything going on. People are stocking up as much as they can. So I don't know if this is going to have any real impact on that, but time will tell. We'll have to see as this gets rolled out. Next policy here is to suspend the state's gas tax for 6 months. This is a big one, depending on how much you drive. That could actually put a decent chunk of money back in your pocket. I also saw that starting next week, we will make our first stop in Hanover for a hearing on how we can reduce the costs of childcare and expand the tour to all sectors of our economy. Folks across our Commonwealth have great ideas, and I'm looking forward to identifying and promoting more ways to make Pennsylvania more affordable for everyone. That's great. We need more of that. Currently, I don't think politicians take enough time to actually sit down with people and understand what their current troubles are. The squeaky wheel usually gets the grease, and a lot of times those are corporations and not the actual people who drive the economy forward. So I think this is great. Childcare is a huge one. I have 2 kids in daycare, and that's almost a mortgage payment in and of itself. So yeah, no, this is great. I can't wait to see that, and I'll definitely be going to that stop in Hanover for sure. Next policy here, I think it's the last one. A 6-month sales tax holiday on car seats as well as newborn and baby products. I've also seen some announcements separate from this from different representatives, talking about other things like gardening products, tools, cleaning products, Halloween costumes, decorative pumpkins. So without a full list, I can't really comment too much on that. We'll see as these bills get introduced here. But I mean, depending on how much you buy of some of these things, that could save you a decent amount of money. But yeah, here's the tour dates and locations. I will definitely be sharing this announcement link with everyone with the video here. So next up, I did actually want to go through some numbers. Let's take a look at how this would impact the normal Pennsylvanian. So I kind of went with some average family costs that I could find. You can use this to kind of gauge how much you would save based on your own bills in comparison to this. So for a yearly household income of, I have $78,000. Electric bills, I have an average of $145 a month. Phone bills, roughly 2 lines, you're looking at $113 a month. Gas is probably the biggest one. I broke it down into 3 different low, medium, high usage. So we have 50 gallons, 75 gallons, and 100 gallons a month. But this should give you a kind of benchmark to see how things are impacted. So first we'll cover the income tax cut. Current tax rate is 3.07%. The new tax rate for that 6 months is 2.99%, which is a difference of 0.08%. So if you make $78,000 a year, your per year savings of this, assuming that tax cut lasts for an entire year, would be $62.40. So we have to half that for the 6 months, which would be $31.20, which gives you a monthly savings of $5.20. Moving on to the electric bill relief, the gross receipts tax is 5.9%, with a monthly bill of $145. That's a monthly savings of $8.56, or a total of $51.33 savings over 6 months. Phone bill relief. Current tax being removed is the 5% tax. If your average monthly phone bill is $113, it's a monthly savings of $5.65, with the total savings over 6 months of $33.90. Gas tax holiday. This is the big one where you're going to see the most savings. Current gas tax in PA is 57.6%, I believe. 57.6 cents per gallon. So at 50 gallons a month, rounding up to 58 cents, that would be a total monthly savings of $28.80, or $172.80 over 6 months. If you're using 75 gallons a month, that's $43.20 savings per month, or $259.20 over 6 months. And at 100 gallons, that's $57.60 per month, or $345.60 over 6 months. The next policy was the sales tax holidays. Again, I don't have enough information to even begin to put together estimates on this, but some of the suggested products that I saw were baby products, school supplies, tools, toiletries, cleaning products, seasonal items like costumes, pumpkins, gardening supplies. That's going to vary greatly between households. Plus, I don't have the full list of products, so I can't really estimate that. But something to keep on the radar. Now, the total impact. This kind of follows along the gallons. So low, moderate, or high usage of gas. If you're on the low end, you're looking at $289 total savings over 6 months, or $48 a month. In the middle, you're looking at $376 savings over 6 months, or $63 a month. And on the high end, you're looking at $450 total over 6 months, or $75 a month. Now, what does that mean? We need to put that into context here a little bit. So looking at the cost increase over the last couple of years, electric has gone up $25 to $40 a month. Gas has gone up $25 to $75 a month. Groceries have gone up hundreds a month. That's a hard one to put a number to because it's so variable across where you shop or what you shop for. And a lot of people have actually changed their shopping habits to get around some of the higher prices that we're seeing. Housing has gone up $250 to $300 a month on average. Healthcare is probably the biggest one that has impacted me most recently. Insurance costs have skyrocketed. On average, you're looking at $75 to $150 a month extra. I think mine went up by $400 a month, and that was through my employer plan. If you're on one of the state plans, that could have doubled or tripled as well. So, overall, cost of living has increased by hundreds of dollars every month. And this plan gives back $50 to $75 a month for 6 months. So that's the gap we're talking about here. Yes, it's a relief. It helps. Absolutely. But to kind of put that into perspective, you're getting back enough money to buy McDonald's meals for yourself 5 times a month. And that's what this relief ends up accounting for at the household level. So again, it's great. I don't think it moves the needle enough. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I also wanted to talk about the other side of this, which is the multi-billion-dollar relief effort that was mentioned earlier. Pennsylvania's current budget is roughly $45 to $50 billion a year. So this is a pretty big chunk of that, even at $2 billion. But if you're looking at $5-6 billion for this relief effort, that's a pretty sizable chunk of money taken out of the budget. And when you cut that much money, that has to come from somewhere. So that can mean fewer road repairs. And we all know Pennsylvania roads need to be repaired, or it could be less funding elsewhere in other programs. It's just shifting costs around. So we'll have to see. We don't know what that looks like yet. It all depends on what the bills end up saying, but we don't have that information. So once that comes out, I'll definitely be diving into those more and give you more information on that as well. So for the cost of billions of dollars, essentially, of the state budget, we're looking at a few fast food meals a month for about 6 months. That's great. I don't know how impactful that's going to be for a lot of people. But yeah, it's a good thing overall. I think my biggest concern is this is a temporary Band-Aid solution. I think it looks good if it goes through because sure, you can flash this big package around and say you're saving people lots of money. But when you break it down, it really isn't that much. And it's only a 6-month temporary thing that could cause more problems down the road. What I would personally like to see is not just this kind of temporary relief, but also a plan to fix the problems long term. I haven't seen anything like that come up in bills lately. And I think it's a hard sell for a lot of politicians because those kind of plans take potentially years to actually get any kind of fruitful returns. And when a lot of these career politicians are trying to get wins for themselves, they're trying so they're looking for short-term wins that they can use to get reelected next term. And we need less of that and more of how can we fix these problems, maybe not permanently, but over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So yeah, I would like to see some other legislation tied to this or alongside this that fixes some of these long-term problems with healthcare, with housing costs, with grocery bills, with, I don't know if you can do much about it on gas bills for taxes. But yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement here. But I will be following this legislation and I'll keep up to date on what's going on with it. And we'll keep this conversation going. So thank you for tuning in and I'll talk to you guys soon.